Welcome to SUSD Spotlight, your go-to source for all things happening within the district. Whether it's celebrating student and staff achievements, delving into trending education topics, or highlighting inspiring human interest stories, we've got you covered. Join us as we illuminate the incredible endeavors taking place in our schools and forge connections within our community. Get ready to be informed, inspired, and engaged as we embark on this journey together, spotlighting the extraordinary in SUSD. Welcome to another edition of SUSD Spotlight. Today we're excited to welcome in studio two of our leaders from Scottsdale Parent Council, Dr. Kimberlee McClure and Andrea Augustine. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as we get started, it would be helpful for our listeners to know a little bit about who you are and what drew you to be part of Scottsdale Parent Council.
I'm Kimberlee McClure, and I got involved with Scottsdale Parent Council for two reasons. One is to give it back, to kind of pay it forward to public education. So I went to public school in 4 states growing up, and I have my doctorate in chemistry and neuroscience, and nobody else in my family is a scientist. I'm a little odd like that. And the reason why I have the degree I have and did what I did are two teachers in high school, my 10th grade honors chemistry teacher and my AP chemistry teacher junior year. And then the other reason is, as a parent, I wanted to kind of be the type of parent that my mom was. So she really paid attention to what was going on with school. And there were several times where she had to advocate for me and get me placed in classes that better fit my academic needs. Like I actually didn't learn how to read well until second grade. I can actually vividly remember learning how to read, which was really useful when my kids were learning how to read. And then later on in middle school, because we moved states, I was in the wrong math class and I was repeating stuff that I'd already done. And what happens, well, I lashed out behaviorally. So anyway, like my mom had to be an advocate and I kind of wanted to be that parent. And as a member of SPC, like as a parent member of SPC, it kind of helped give me broader context for what my kids' education was. And then I can be that type of advocate for them. And then I decided to go ahead and increase my participation and volunteer with actually running SPC.
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Andrea Augustine, and I am the VP of Programming for SPC. I also have two children in the district. I have one daughter in middle school at Cheyenne Traditional K through 8, and one freshman at Desert Mountain High School. I got involved with SPC kind of as a natural evolution of being an involved parent. I think, you start with room mom, you start getting more involved in the PTO, and then you become a Scottsdale Parent Council rep. And so I was a rep for a couple of years, and then and decided to step into a larger role when asked to do that. And I think what really intrigued me about Scottsdale Parent Council is getting that connection to the district. You got to really see the faces behind the names of what was going on at the district, who these people were, what their jobs were, what their role was, and how that could help you as a parent and help you with your student. And so I think that's how I became so involved in SPC. Was I really saw the value of the organization, and it made sense to get more involved.
Can you share with us a little bit about what Scottsdale Parent Council is? Because you talked about being a room mom or APT, PTOs, and people are maybe more familiar with what that looks like, sort of hyper local to your school. But what is Scottsdale Parent Council and the effect it maybe has on the PTOs and the APTs?
So I think it's really broad. So it is for people. So like I've done room mom, but I have not been involved in leadership positions at individual school PTOs, but there's still a place for someone like me who's more of just a parent who's involved in SPC, and there's a lot of value for someone like me. There is also a lot of value for the really for the parents who are very involved at the site level too, at their schools, and both in our general meetings, a lot of our programming, but specifically in the roundtables, we bring those volunteers together regularly, and we connect them both with each other and with different, I don't know, experts, right, from the district, finance, facilities, reservations.
Communications,
booking,
facility reservations.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So building the knowledge base more so than fundraising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about programming and roundtables. What are the kinds of things that parents would expect to learn if they engage with Scottsdale Parent Council?
It's really broad. So in addition to PTO roundtables, we have a general meeting every month. and the topics really vary. The meeting that we had just yesterday was a legislative update. So we heard from Alexis Sussdorf with State 48 Public Affairs. She represents SUSD's interests, right, down at the legislature.
Right.
And she both explained kind of how the legislature works and like what the dynamics are this year with it being a split government between the governor's office and the legislature, and then walked us through both legislative bills that are directly relevant to SUSD parents, but also broader for public education in Arizona. And that's kind of what I feel like that's SPC in a nutshell as well, right? It's like very local if you want it to be, and it's also broader context if you need it.
Well, and it makes that kind of information, and sometimes that seems so huge that you can't digest it. But I think SPC, by having her there, really made it consumable for just your average parent who is sitting there trying to understand what's going on at all the different levels and what these things will impact you over time. And so it's really nice that we bring her in every year to do that, because I think it really helps. The more informed you are, the better. So she's one of my favorite meetings every year.
Yeah,
definitely.
She definitely is.
Yeah.
So other topics for general meetings, we're working on one about drug use in schools. That'll be a panel discussion. Last semester, we had a panel on what to do if your child is bullied in school. That was great because they talked through both like some of the actual strategies that are being taught to both teachers and children when they're having interpersonal differences with each other that can then diffuse a situation before it, like the whole goal that everyone said, the whole goal is to diffuse anything before it gets to the level of bullying. But if it gets that far, here's how you do it. What I can't remember what other topics we have upcoming. We have statewide assessments, right, which everyone's going to be living through in mid-March through the end of April.
Well, the popular ones are like food services. We do security's been
every
a hot
year.
topic
Every year, some kind of security.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's a great meeting because you get all of your questions answered and you feel better. Like as a parent, that meeting is one of my favorites because it is really stressful sometimes. My kids go to Arcadia and they had several lockdowns this year, and like even though I know logically in my brain it's low probability, you still have that anxiety. And listening to Josh Friedman, it just makes you sleep better at night.
Well, and thank you. Invited communications in with Christine.
Yeah, you're coming in May. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Looking
for the
forward
plug.
to
There
it.
you go.
Well, and personally, as a parent, I can tell you, I always appreciate that you have a morning meeting and you have an evening meeting. So no matter for working parents out there too, you're able to still, drop in to those meetings that fit your schedule. And
they're also
every
online.
school,
Online,
we live stream everything and then put it on YouTube. And like Alexis had her PowerPoint had hyperlinks for every bill that she was talking to us about. And so that's now on our website. So if you want to like listen to what she's saying and then you're like, wait, I'm really excited about this bill, or this bill is really offensive, right? You can click on it, read it, and then figure out how to weigh in with your elected representative. So we do try to make access to everything that we present really easy.
And then each school has a representative. Anybody can come, but each school has a representative.
Right.
So the information gets back to the school too.
And that's the structure that we work on, is having at least 2 reps from every school. And so then they can report back and, tell their community about what was discussed and give them those resources that we provided at the meeting level so that the more the better.
So Scottsdale Parent Council has been around since 1977. At least that's what I've been told. What would you say is the most significant impact Scottsdale Parent Council has had within our community?
Oh, wow.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I know personally what it's done for me. So one of my first interactions with it was a subcommittee for parents of gifted identified kids. But I got just listening to other parents from other schools really kind of helped me understand where I might want my kids to go after elementary school. So just, again, that impact of how can I, understanding my children's education situation so then I can support them. That's really what SPC has given me.
Well, I would agree. I mean, I don't know any other way really to be connected to the district except, you can go to susd.org and you can see the names or you can see the email of the person to contact. But this is a way that you can get in front of these people, in front of Dr. Menzel, who comes and, he's always available for questions for every meeting. And you get that FaceTime with these people so that, you can ask them directly and have conversations versus behind a screen or via email or, I think it makes a big difference in the sense of community and the effectiveness of positive relationships when you can get in front of people. And that's what SPC provides.
So as parents in our district, one of the things I'm interested in is learning what's worked well and where can we improve. And both of you are parents in our district. What would you like to share?
Well, I would always say communication, and I think you do an excellent job of that, with the SUSD source and social media and getting news and new information out there. That's great. I would say it's more on maybe a site level. And I know that that's tricky, right? Because that has to be, put on the school, and somebody has to staff that, and somebody has to be responsible for that, like the websites and stuff. But I think as a parent, just your average everyday parent who helps a little bit here or helps a little bit there, wants to get more involved but doesn't know how, I think they just go to the school website. I think that that's the first place they go. They don't go to susd.org. They're looking for their school website to see where they can find information. And so if there's a way to get that more. And I know we did that revamp over the summer of all the websites, which was awesome. They look great. But I think if there's a way to really make it so that it's easier for the schools to put current information on there, this is the day that we're having this activity or that activity, or this is who you contact about this. I would say that more communication is better for parents that want to be effective and involved, I think. Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. And one of the things, I think you guys hear this because you get told communication a lot, but like one of the things that we hear at SPC is, oh, I didn't know you existed. And like, I had no idea this is, so like, it is really hard to get the word out. I think people are really inundated with a lot of information overflow. And yeah, websites are hard, right? Because I update ours. And I know. It's not easy. But yeah, so I don't know how to streamline, but just that ongoing commitment, I would say is, just keep that committed to that.
Yeah.
We live in a state where parents have a lot of choices for where to send their children to school. You chose SUSD. Can you tell us why?
So when I first came here, I was told I moved here from California, and Northern California, and when I came here, I was told by someone, oh, you need to send your kids to Basis. It'll be a great fit. And we toured Basis, and just my kids didn't like it at all, just the vibe on the building. And then my husband and I, it just wasn't the type of educational environment we were looking for. And so then we knew roughly where we were going to buy a house. And so we looked at Hopi because that was their neighborhood school. And where in California, you had to go to your neighborhood school. Everywhere where I grew up, you had to go to your neighborhood school. My kids loved Hopi. This was before the rebuild. They just totally clicked with it and loved it. And then that's how I grew up, going to my neighborhood school. I did do some research, and I found things like that a lot of the teachers at Ingleside and Arcadia have been there for 20 years. Like they have a big chunk and same thing with Hopi, right? And that's just a really positive sign that you have teachers who are kind of dedicated to their school. But yeah, it really was just the vibe. And then we've been happy since it was a good choice.
I'm very glad to hear that.
I agree. It was a good choice. World-class education, right? And it is. It definitely is. I know that my daughter is, she's at Desert Mountain. She participates in the International Baccalaureate program. That is offered at the district level, starting in elementary school at Anastasia. You could do middle school all the way to the end to get your IB diploma at Desert Mountain. And that's something that's nationally recognized, and that's something that SUSD offers. And so I think it's, even beyond that, amazing opportunities. Like my daughter, I mentioned earlier to you all that this morning she was at the Spanish Spelling Bee. How many districts are offering that? And what a great experience for her. She had so much fun. That was so much. She just had a great morning and just a great thing to do. And then my other daughter at Desert Mountain, over winter break, she went to London with the Desert Mountain Marching Band and performed in a parade with them in London. And that's something I think that's only offered to Desert Mountain SUSD or SUSD school. I don't think there were any other schools from Arizona there. And that's an invitation that is extended to them specifically, every 4 years. So, it not only are you getting a foundation of an amazing education, but you're also getting these opportunities to do some really cool things that I don't know that other districts and schools are doing. So, lots of reasons, I think. Mm-hmm.
And you chose Cheyenne and so that is a school of choice. I mean, we do have some boundary schools that are neighborhood schools, but then Cheyenne is a school of choice. And I'm curious how you ended up with Cheyenne.
Well, I think it's just a matter of the right fit for your child. And I think that that's what's great about the district is there's different schools that fit different kids. And Cheyenne's a very specific school. It's a traditional school, so you're going to have uniforms, you're going to have teacher-led instruction, and that's not going to be right for every kid, but it was right for mine. And so, and because we were able to get that at the district, and so it's just lots of choices. So I think that that's really a wonderful characteristic of this district, is you can really find a place for your child here.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And from a superintendent's perspective, we need a partnership with parents in order to be successful. And so it's really that connection between the school, the parents, and the students, and figuring out how we leverage that in order to ensure each student is reaching their full potential. So when you think about the future of SPC, what do you see on the horizon, and what strategies do you have to get more parents involved?
$1 million question, right? You know, how do you get more parents? Well, everybody's so busy. You know, right now everybody is so busy, and so we just try and make it as accessible as possible, like having meetings online, having meetings at different times of day, trying to have meetings about subjects that they're interested in. What are the topics that they want to hear about now? What's going on now? I mean, what do you think?
So I've really been working hard to get the word out. Some of it's through social media is an effective way to get the word out. But a lot of what I've been doing too is I email the PTOs every month, at least once a month, and I tell them what we have coming up, and I give them little blurbs and visuals to put in their newsletters to parents, because I read those every week that I get from my school's parent organizations. And I know they're a good way to reach people. And then I also offer up, like, if you can't come to the meeting, they're online. If you want to ask Dr. Menzel a question and you can't come, you can send it to me. And I do ask questions that way quite a bit. So yeah, just really kind of making us, SPC's executive board, very accessible to people, and really working hard to get the word out. But yeah, it's a challenge. And basically I think my goal is that SPC will continue to do the same thing I recommended you guys do to improve, which is stay committed to improving communication and reaching people.
Well, at the end of every podcast, I like to ask our guests to share a story about an educator who made a positive difference in your life. These are the things that, from my perspective, teachers do really incredible work, but they don't always hear about the positive impact. And so I like to give our guests a chance to give a shout out to someone who made a difference in your life. Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned this a little bit in the beginning. So my AP Chem teacher had a really big impact on my life. I was one girl in a class of like 11 other guys, and I did really well. And I just loved the material, and he gave me the confidence to know that I could do really well. And it served me well, because there were many times where I was, anyway, that same dynamic, especially being in a field like chemistry, like it was the same kind of setup in my quantum physics class in graduate school, and I still passed it. So anyway, his name is Tom Pemble. And the thing that I remember the most about him is one day he lit a Bunsen burner, and then he blew some powder over it, and it made a giant ball of fire. And I tried to recreate it in my garage with a blowtorch.
Oh no!
And my mother used my full name for that.
Well, mine was it wasn't a teacher; it was an administrator. It was an assistant principal who took a special interest in me. You know, kids are dealing with a lot in high school, and I think that sometimes we lose sight of that they're just trying to figure out who they are and what's right and what's wrong, and just finding their place in the world. And she took a special interest in me. Dr. Williams took a special interest in me my junior year, and really kept me on track my junior and senior year in high school. And I don't know if I would have been as successful without her. So that's definitely someone who I'll always remember and be grateful for.
Well, thank you for sharing those stories. Thank you for volunteering at Scottsdale Parent Council. I know that you are busy in your own personal lives, and it takes a little bit more to do that, but it also makes a big difference here in our district, and I'm truly grateful for the time and energy that you put into making SPC what it is.
And we appreciate our listeners. We hope that you enjoyed this episode of SUSD Spotlight, and we'll continue to tune in on your preferred streaming platform and pitch us ideas for future podcasts on our website, susd.org/spotlight.